Thank you so much, Papa. Thank you, Mama. Please be seated. I salute you, sir and Mama. Good evening, everyone. I met Papa 40 or 41 years ago in ABU Zaria, in the Chapel of Redemption, FCS. And then I was closer to Philip Mokunga than him then, because Philip and myself were in one fellowship together, Truth Foundation Ministries. So we came, so in Zaria, I recognized Papa in the fellowship with Dr. Bako, Abubakar Bako, and Philip Mokunga in blessed memory. They were the ones we saw that, I can't remember if Papa was in the ESCO, but they were the preachers in FCS and then in Zaria environs. So as a member of FCS, I was driving the Gospel on Wheels, the fellowship bus. So I was just watching, but I admired Papa. How my pastoral ministry began, because I was in Zaria, ABU, in 1986, Dr. Ben Oruma called me and said, Ed, I want to send you to the US, Kenneth Hagin Bible College, so that when you finish, you come and be a pastor in my ministry. Because then I was driving FCS bus and also sometimes driving Ben Oruma's ministry bus. And I said to him, no, sir, I don't want to get into ministry. I said, if I will do ministry work, then I will go and pastor my youth fellowship that Philip and myself were. He laughed and he said, Ed, I like that spirit. Then after some time, Dr. Philip Mokunga also asked me to be one of his pastors when he started his ministry in Mina, then came to Jos. And I told Philip, no, I wouldn't work with you. And here we were, suddenly, we met with Bishop Fred, Addo, Papa. And not yet a pastor, but he so trusted me and I became his director of crusades of Fred Addo City Crusade. So as director of FAC, we got involved and then doing a little house fellowship somewhere in Angwarimi, one upstairs like this. Mama knows, she's telling Papa that place now. We all know that place. So we were doing our home fellowship in that place in Angwarimi. And as time went on, God now asked Papa to start the church in Kaduna. Then he was coming from Yola, and we were here in Kaduna. So, to start that meeting, the place we got was a royal cinema, an open chapel. So it was in the course of such meetings that Papa, I sat in the congregation. I knew him from ABU, but I sat in the congregation and I believe that Papa recognized that was God's time, different from Dr. Ben Oruma's, different from Dr. Philip Mokunga. And the moment Papa said, Brother Ed, stand, I flowed with it. And I became a pastor that day. I didn't argue that. There was no argument. But I remember how I talked with Philip in blessed memory and Dr. Ben Oruma, I didn't follow. But when Papa called me, there was an inward witness that that was the time. And I stood and I became a pastor. And not too long, I was serving under Bishop Weep, and I was the assistant resident pastor. Now, talking about 45 years of Papa preaching in the ministry, I have been involved in this ministry for 36 years, thereabout. You know. I served under Bishop Weep in Royal Cinema, and a point of correction, Bishop Weep didn't go to Abuja, as she said. He went to Jos to pastor the church in Jos. So I took over as resident pastor in Royal Cinema. I was so privileged and honored that I am the first resident pastor in this church. And so privileged and honored too that Papa led us. I can't forget that day when in the night every church member came. We were carrying blocks, there were floodlights, we were laying the foundation of this church, and the church was being built, and Papa was also involved. I was involved as the resident pastor in this church. Not long, Papa did something that I don't know if he has done that to any other person. He started what was called SOCAP. And as resident pastor here in Kaduna, my secular job office was in Abuja. I was posted from Kaduna to Abuja. So I used to drive and come to Kaduna Saturday, do Sunday service. Monday, I will drive to Abuja. Wednesday, I will drive for evening service. Thursday, I will drive back to Abuja. And Saturday, I will come and get ready for Sunday service. Now, it was in that period that SOCAP was going on. You can trust yours sincerely. I will be late to attend SOCAP because I will be coming from Abuja. I was not consistent in SOCAP, but Papa graduated me. Let my people go. I was the only graduate in SOCAP who didn't do what do they call it? You see, I can't even call the name because I didn't do it. I mean, all he said was that all the traveling, coming, and whatever was my assignment and whatever. So I graduated. Thank you so much, Papa. Thereafter, Papa entrusted me with pastoring the church in Abuja. And it was a good experience pastoring the church in Abuja for about 18 years, 16, 17 years. It was in that period also that it pleased the Lord and Papa that I should be consecrated bishop in April 2009. But before my consecration, I was pastoring the church in Abuja. Papa said to me, Ed, I think your consecration should be in Yola, not in Abuja, because they will need you in that place in the future. And I said, well, I was thinking that, my family was in Abuja. My church was in Abuja. My office was in Abuja. Not many people knew me in Yola, but the ministry we were doing with them, Philip, was in somewhere called, it starts with N, near River Benue, confluence River Benue and River Gongola, somewhere there in former Gongola state. So I accepted, and Papa made sure that the International Communion of Charismatic Churches worldwide attended, and Bishop Joel Thomas represented the international president. And that consecration was something else in Yola. And that was great wisdom that God gave and knowledge that God gave Papa, and I'm glad I flowed with it so easily. And today I'm the Bishop of Yola Diocese. I mean, because of the kind of spirit in Papa who imparted on Archbishop Calvin and Tonza, I mean, a year before then, Bishop Calvin called and said, it's like you will move to Yola. But you see, Papa had said, they may need you, I mean, they will need you in Yola in the future. So your consecration, that was 16 years ago as bishop, but now, 2 years, I'm Bishop of Yola Diocese. Thank you, Papa. In his tight and busy schedule, Papa never forgot to get in touch. And a lot of times, I will send an emoji to him, covering my face, that, you are the one getting in touch. I've not called you or chatted you for. He will always get in touch, ask after my family. But let me conclude this as I salute Papa. My son Caleb was sick. And I had already come out of my own. Archbishop Calvin and Tonza and my wife are in the very picture of it when I was diagnosed to have cancer, you know, when they removed the growth on my wrist here, and they said it was cancer. Go to National Hospital for second confirmation. I mean, second opinion. National Hospital Abuja confirmed it was cancer, and when Bishop Calvin and myself and my wife now, we were taking communion through the telephone. Archbishop Calvin will call with my wife, we will do that. But I just want to cut this long story before I get to my son and conclude. So I had to go for another surgery because the growth came out again. 3 times they've done it. So when I went back for the surgery, they said, no cancer. And the doctor in Maitama Hospital said, take it to National Hospital again. I took it to National Hospital. They said no cancer. Now, for the 3rd time, I did that surgery. National Hospital confirmed no more cancer. While that ended, my son was schooling in Ukraine. And an appendix surgery. He sent a message, he said, you know, that they said the percentage of survival was very slim. It had already ruptured. And they had a 7-hour surgery on Caleb in Ukraine, Christmas Day of 2021. And for the next 3 months, the hospital didn't understand what his problem was. And now, the drum of war was being sounded in Ukraine. Well, the boy had to leave when all Nigerians had left. He had finished his 1st degree, started his 2nd degree, but couldn't complete it because he was in the hospital. He had completed the coursework, but he couldn't just defend the thesis. And now there was war. All Nigerians had left because he could not move. He was dying. And the hospital in Ukraine had said he should come back sometimes in January or February for further analysis. Now they couldn't conclude that and the war broke. Here he was in Romania. In Ukraine, he had 2 surgeries. In Romania, when he got to Romania, I had already then called the ambassador. I didn't know the ambassador. I said, my son is coming all the way from Ukraine, and he is very ill. Now, when he got to Romania, he was already dying. He was completely a skeleton. And yet, when he met 5 other professors there, now the point I'm trying to make was that in all of this, Papa will always send a message. How is my son Caleb doing? How is my son Caleb doing? And then I remember one day he was sleeping, he was on his hospital bed. I was on the other side in Romania, and I said to him, Papa said, I should greet you. And he forced out a smile, and I saw the joy on his face. But before then, 5 professors had diagnosed him to have cancer. So he said, Daddy, I need to do this chemotherapy. He said, the pain is so severe. And he signed the dotted lines for chemotherapy. And when they were to start this therapy, they found out that if they started, he will die. He wasn't strong enough. So they gave him 1 month. So in all this, Papa was in touch. I was giving him updates, how this boy was going through, what he was going through. He had 3 more surgeries in Romania. From appendix, the acid there burned his kidneys, intestines, is what again? Burned some things in his tummy, and then there were holes on his tummy, about 5 different openings that feces and fluid were coming out. And doctors said he will never leave without a pouch that those fluid will be going in. But we kept praying. Once in a while, I'll say, okay, Papa, I'm traveling to Romania. My wife will travel and come, because he couldn't stay on his own. She will go stay with him, come back, then I will go stay with him. And Papa was always in touch. And Caleb was always happy anytime I mentioned Papa. But to cut this long story short, one day this boy, in fact, people from Germany came. I was there, cameramen, pressmen, that they read on the internet how somebody survived, because it was an ailment they didn't know. The doctor told me there was no literature in medical history. They didn't know that, but they will try their best. So they were just doing a trial by error thing. But we were all praying and trusting the Lord. And Papa was in the center of this. At the end of the day, he was discharged. The people from Germany came. His doctor actually called me. Then I was in Romania. I said, there was this call from Germany. They wanted to ask him questions. They also wanted to ask the boy what actually happened. And while we went for the weekly clinic, they were now talking to him. But I told the doctor, talk to them. Tell them what actually happened. But deep down, I knew what God has done for us. One day, he went to see the professor. When they found out that, okay, after a month that they said they should manage him before the chemotherapy, of course, when he came back, they found out it was no more cancer. But now, when he was getting the miracle gradually, he was now visiting the hospital once in a month. He stayed in the hospital for over 6-7 months and whatever. But one day, he got to this professor and he raised his shirt to look at that. And all the openings, no pouch, were all sealed. And the boy had finished and went downstairs, and the prof opened the curtain and said, "Caleb, please come back." And he called other professors that Caleb should show them. And the man said, "We have never seen a situation like this." Thank you so much, Papa. Thank you also for being in Yola when Caleb gave his testimony. You were right there. He was so happy about it. These 45 years, when you write or anybody writes anything and is talking about miracles, Caleb is one of such. Thank you very much, Papa. We celebrate you. We salute you. It's a great honor to serve under you for the foundation. I salute you. Thank you, Mama, and thank you very much. God bless you.